April 20th, 2010, 9:49 p.m. Deep in the Gulf of Mexico, the Deepwater Horizon, $500 million drilling rig floats like a city of steel on a calm sea. It's drilling into the Earth's crust nearly 2 miles below the waves. Suddenly, a violent shudder rocks the platform. A geyser of mud, seawater, and highly flammable methane gas erupts onto the rig floor. Then, a single spark turns the world to fire. The explosion killed 11 men and injured 17 others. 2 days later, the massive rig, engulfed in flames, sank beneath the waves. This wasn't just an accident. It was the start of the largest accidental oil spill in history, leaving an open wound in the seafloor that gushed oil for 87 agonizing days. The question isn't just what happened, but why. The answer is a cascade of failures, a chain reaction of bad materials, ignored warnings, and terrible decisions made by the companies involved: BP, Transocean, and Halliburton. It never should have happened. For an oil well, the foundation is cement. Miles beneath the seabed, the plan was to pump a special cement mixture down the well to create a perfect seal, locking away the immense pressure of the oil and gas below. But the cement job on the Macondo well was rotten from the start. Investigations later showed that the foam cement from Halliburton was unstable, a shortcut to save money. Lab tests conducted before the job should have set off major alarm bells, but those warnings were ignored. The result was a weak, porous barrier. Instead of a solid plug, the crew had unknowingly installed a time bomb. This was the first critical domino, creating a hidden path for disaster. The faulty cement created the danger, but the crew had one crucial chance to catch it: a procedure called the negative pressure test. It's the final exam for a well. By lowering the pressure inside, you can see if the seal is holding. If pressure rises, it means gas is leaking in. It's a simple pass-fail test. The crew on the Deepwater Horizon ran the test, and the results screamed failure. Pressure was building, a clear sign the seal was leaking. But in a shocking failure of judgment, both BP and Transocean managers on the rig misread the signs. They argued about the results, dismissing the rising pressure as a weird fluke, an inexplicable bladder effect with no basis in reality. They declared the test a success. The well was shouting that it was about to blow, and they called it a false alarm. Because they had wrongly declared the well secure, the managers made another fatal choice. They ordered the crew to replace the heavy drilling mud in the well with much lighter seawater. That heavy mud isn't just for lubrication. Its weight is a critical safety barrier, holding back the intense pressure from the reservoir. Seawater is far too light to do the same job. By pumping out the heavy mud, the crew essentially removed the last thing holding back the ticking time bomb. With the bad cement already letting gas sneak in, this decision opened the floodgates. The highly pressurized gas, now unchecked, began to rocket up the drill pipe. Even as a huge bubble of methane gas shot towards the rig, there was one last chance. A 300-ton stack of valves on the seafloor called the blowout preventer, or BOP. The BOP is the ultimate failsafe, designed to slam shut and slice through the drill pipe, sealing the well no matter what. But the Deepwater Horizon's blowout preventer failed completely. Later analysis found it was poorly maintained with dead batteries and faulty wiring. But the final failure came down to simple physics. The uncontrolled force of the blowout was so extreme that it buckled the drill pipe inside the BOP. When the emergency shear ram's giant blades designed to cut the pipe finally triggered, they couldn't slice through the bent steel. The very last line of defense was made useless by the exact event it was built to stop. At 9:49 p.m., the gas hit the rig floor. The rig's own detection systems failed, allowing the gas to find an ignition source. The result was a series of massive explosions that engulfed the platform in a fireball. 11 crewmen were lost in the fire and never found. For 2 days, the Deepwater Horizon burned. Then, on the morning of April 22nd, the crippled rig capsized and sank. The immediate human tragedy was over, but an environmental catastrophe on an unimaginable scale was just beginning. With the rig gone and the BOP useless, an open pipe was gushing oil directly from the massive reservoir into the Gulf of Mexico. For 87 straight days, oil and gas flowed uncontrollably. The final number is staggering: an estimated 3.19 million barrels, over 130 million gallons of crude oil spilled into the Gulf, making it the largest accidental marine oil spill in history. The environmental damage was devastating. Oil slicks covered thousands of square miles, while huge underwater plumes poisoned the deep. The spill destroyed fisheries, coastal wetlands, and had a lasting impact on marine wildlife, from dolphins to sea turtles. If you find these deep dives into major engineering and systemic failures interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us continue to break down how and why these critical events happen. So, what went wrong on the Deepwater Horizon? The short answer is everything. It was a chain reaction. It's a bad cement job. A critical pressure test that was fatally misinterpreted. The reckless decision to remove the heavy drilling mud, and the catastrophic failure of a poorly maintained blowout preventer. But beneath all those technical mistakes was a broken safety culture. Official reports point to a string of cost-cutting decisions and terrible risk management shared between BP, Transocean, and Halliburton. This wasn't an unforeseeable act of nature. It was a preventable catastrophe created by human error and corporate greed. The legacy of the Deepwater Horizon is a stark reminder of the huge risks of deepwater drilling and the tragic cost when safety gets pushed aside.